Firefighters arrived on the scene to find the home completely engulfed in flames. Now, it is obviously a total loss, but thankfully there were no injuries. The one man who lives here was not at home. West Virginia man is now home after a trip he says he'll never forget. Now, the beauty of a program like this is that the inmates actually get to help preserve this battlefield. They get to move the fences around so they can tend to the trees, but they also help themselves in the process. A woman reported missing from Washington County has been found dead in Waynesboro. Now police have the task of trying to figure out what happened here, what sparked this long ordeal. They know they have been to this home before for domestic violence, but they don't know exactly if that's the reason for it today. For now, the residents that are back into their homes, they were staying in the Red Cross for a limited time. They're certainly glad to be back there, but certainly not under these conditions. For now, live in Berkeley County, I'm Nikki Burdine. Back to you. The ceremony will last until about 9 p.m. and will include several speakers, including Nick's family. They've all been telling stories and talking about their favorite memories of Nick because they want this to be a celebration of his life. Live in Williamsport, I'm Nikki Burdine. Back to you. Kira went to pick up her son Isaidan at daycare on Tuesday, just as she always does when she gets off work at 2 o'clock. But when she arrived, she knew something was wrong.
I went into the house and she was sitting there, door was open. She was like, "I'm so sorry, he's dead. I'm so sorry, he's gone."
That's when they got the news. Their 12-week-old baby boy was dead.
I got the call from my wife and I really couldn't understand what she was saying, but I could tell she was in panic, and then I kind of knew that it was something, and I had a feeling it was too late.
State police say an autopsy was done on Isaidan and his death is under investigation. Until then, the Watsons are left to mourn and wonder what happened on that day.
She said she had laid him on his belly, that he was fine plenty of times before on his belly, and she went to go get him up, and she went to go change his diaper, and it seemed like he was still sleeping, and she realized his eyes were open and he wasn't breathing.
Kira says Isaidan was a healthy baby boy, full of life, and although she doesn't believe there was anything malicious about what happened that day, she is still longing for answers.
I believe that the first phone call should have been to, 911 as she did. I believe she did take that, the steps correctly. But I also heard that she called her daughter next. And her daughter was to come to the scene right away, come over right away. I should have been, or Ian should have been, the next phone call.
I'm just hurt. We're all hurt. Devastating. One minute my child is doing a normal day, picking her children up from care, and the next minute, boom, world's just totally devastated.
If I would have known that was the last time I was going to see my baby alive, I would have never left. Never left.
Go.
This may look like an illegal activity, but it's just another day on the job for the guys at American Lenders.
10-4, we're going to go up on foot.
A job that's busier than normal these days.
Over about the past 6 to 8 months, we've noticed about a 15-20% increase in repossessions.
When people can't pay their bills, that means more business for these guys.
We repossess automobiles, trucks, tractor trailers, boats, RVs, currently looking for a steamroller. Anything that can be financed can be repossessed.
Some repossessed items come easier than others.
The biggest increase that we've seen is on voluntary repossessions. Just people simply calling a lien holder, "Hey, unfortunately times are hard. I can't afford this 2006 Ford Excursion."
As you can see behind me, the majority of these repossessed vehicles are SUVs. Repossessors say the reason for this is the increase in the cost of gasoline.
On a good day, we average about 5. We got 2 before noon.
Yeah.
So, we're looking at 2 to 3 hours for 2. Now, we might not get anything else the rest of the evening, but I'm pretty confident we will.
This lot is filled with cars, all of which were taken in the past 4 days.
It has definitely gotten worse in about the past, I would say about the past 6 months. We actually end up having to buy another truck. It's how busy it's gotten for us.
Sometimes they do come up empty-handed.
How are you, sir? My name's Robert Clark from American Lender Service Company. I want to ask you a couple questions about your neighbor.
So if you're not paying your bills, don't be surprised to see these guys legally stealing your car.
065-290-065. Let's go. How many people, really have the keys to other people's cars, and can legally, steal them?
In Martinsburg, Nikki Burdine, NBC 25 News. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Nikki Burdine. Gar Goodwin took the oath of office for the Senate today. He will replace Senator Robert Byrd, who died last month. But only a few hours before, Governor Joe Manchin declared he will be running for the Senate seat in this year's general election. WHAG's Ashley Montfort has the details on what happened today. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Shelley Moore Capito says the Congresswoman will make a decision in the next couple of days as to whether she will enter the Senate race. Campaign manager Ken Gates says Capito has never considered serving in the U.S. House as a consolation prize to the Senate. He also pointed out that campaigning for re-election to the House while running for the Senate at the same time could be challenging. Well, with the West Virginia special election for the U.S. Senate coming up in just a month, local West Virginia counties and voters are rushing to prepare for the big day. WHAG's Jamie Burke has more on what you can expect from the election. The West Virginia Secretary of State's office is estimating the special election will cost the state between $3 and $5 million. Another setback today in slots for Maryland. I'm Nikki Burdine. Well, it's summertime and many kids are playing outside and enjoying their time off. Another school district in Franklin County is making budget cuts, resulting in the loss of jobs and certain programs. WHAG's Scott Hirschberger spent the afternoon in Waynesboro. He's in our newsroom now with more on how residents of this small town are reacting. WHAG's Scott Hirschberger reporting for us tonight. Thank you, Scott. Now, at this point, board members have not decided to cut the high school librarian position or the on-the-road portion of driver's education, but officials say these could be eliminated in the future.
Well, a summer camp for kids is keeping them in the kitchen. It's a cooking camp and allows them to play and create with their food.
So it's okay to play with your food?
It is, absolutely.
WHAG's Ashley Montfort shows us what they were stirring up today. Not that we don't love our own meteorologists here at WHAG, but Fort Hill High School let me in on one of their best kept secrets. They have their very own weather guy, Corbin Swinger. And what's more impressive, his track record for getting the forecast spot on.
Pardon the interruption, we have a special afternoon weather update.
Every day in the morning announcements, Fort Hill High School pauses to listen to its own forecast.
And this is Corbin Swinger with the week's weather update. Today is thunderstorms, high 78.
Most of the time I don't bother to check the weather myself. I'll just ask him.
He does get a lot of notoriety from his weather. We have coaches that's always stopping by our room saying, well, I have practice, how about the game tonight?
When I go down the hall, they ask me, they stand there do hall duty.
What do they say?
They say, Corbin, what's the weather for the weekend? www.
But when Corbin first came to Fort Hill High School, he barely even spoke.
He's come here and he's just come into his own.
Nimbus clouds with the clouds.
Corbin was diagnosed with autism when he was about 4 years old. Corbin's dad says his passion for the weather has helped him fit in at school, but still stand out in the crowd.
There are certain things that he's fascinated with, and the weather has always been one of them.
Tomorrow partly cloudy, Saturday partly cloudy, in the 60s.
Each and every day, Corbin comes into school, into his classroom, sits down at his computer and uses multiple tools like interactive radar and several websites to do his research, so his forecast is 100% accurate. He's so good, he even had a few tips for our own meteorologist, Chris Smith.
You should do a 10-day forecast.
But how is Corbin so accurate? He doesn't have a degree in meteorology. After all, he's only 16. Yet somehow,
I was 100% accurate and 10% nervous.
Pretty good statistics, especially for the weatherman.
I'm not making this up either.
Well, Corbin also uses your4state.com to conduct his research. He says he loves using the interactive radar. Former Governor Bob Ehrlich is on the campaign trail in Hagerstown today. He stopped by our studio earlier today. Here's what he had to say. Of Western Maryland to know that you plan to do?
Well, we need to obviously return to a pro-business state environment. We're very hostile. We're viewed as hostile now.
Governor Ehrlich is heading to Garrett County now, where he will be attending the Lincoln Day dinner. There he says he wants to touch base with some of the party's volunteers. Welcome back. Well, we all know kids say the darndest things, but kids also come up with some pretty amazing stuff. Joining me now is our hero of the month, Ricky. Ricky, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Now, Ricky is part of an organization called Kids Are Heroes, and heading up that organization is Gabe O'Neill, who's also with us today. Gabe, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, each month we pick a kid who we think is pretty special, who gives back to the community, and Ricky has a pretty special story. Ricky is fighting a disease. You can't tell, right? Amazing looking kid, right?